Good morning, everybody. What is up? What is up? It's Friday. I just like that girl. Don't be.
Oh boy, you're gonna stick that into people's heads now?
No, I'll just say it's Friday. All right. No,
Appreciate that.
no variance in the tone. It's Friday. What is up? It's Dr. Vibe, your host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020. Best Podcast News Award winner 2018, Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, I host the only online broadcast in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And I am the global chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks in the diaspora that are doing all things when it comes to food, wine, and travel. And to my other side, who do we got?
Yes. Always glad to be here in the morning with you, Dr. Vibe. My name is Ryan Knight, founder of the Detailing Nights, which I'm rocking today. The sun is out and we are ready to get to work this weekend.
Whoa!
So we do mobile waterless car cleaning. So if you need your car done and you want to support youth in the community that are learning entrepreneurship, please give us a call. And if you have a child that is a high school student or even college and looking for a job, especially if they're sitting around doing nothing this summer, please get them in contact with me. I will put their hands to work learning about what entrepreneurship can do, putting some hair on their chest.
We're gonna put them to work.
Yes,
we're gonna put them to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, this has been quite a week.
Yeah, this week has been eventful. Typically, I thought going into the week it would be a bit not so much happening, but a lot of announcements, a lot of Zoom information, myself getting frustrated with how process goes through government. People asking me, oh, how can you be surprised on how government is treating Black people? We all should be surprised. Like, if we are not surprised, why are we not advocating for better treatment? But alas, there's only so much one man can do.
And there's only one how much we do with a system that we have challenges with, So we just, also just want to say shout out to Chris Lawrence, our number one fan out there. Chris, you got to come on here. So back to you. Sorry to interrupt, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, just to say I've noticed some friends have not been happy with what I've been saying recently. Like, if that's how it's going to determine our friendship, that, hey, I can't fall in line with people that disrespect the Black community, no matter what they've promised us. And I'm talking about the liberal government, any government that's in power and can make decisions. If they're not making decisions that empower us, we should not accept that. And we should know what we need to truly empower the community and demand that. Like, that is what our government is in place to do, is to make sure that there's equality and equity and all the fluffy words that you want to put around treat everybody as you want to be treated. That golden rule. And I do not feel that what they're doing right now, especially with the loan announcements and working with the banks, you're seeing really how the banks have been treating Black people in private. Now you're seeing it in public. Exactly. And that's why I'm loving this experiment, because I'm like, wow, everything that they're saying is what they covertly say to Black business owners when they come in the door. But now they're saying it to us as a community. And so I don't feel like people have registered that yet. And you can see it if you go to any of the big 5 banks and look at their website and look how they portray Black business, and then calculate how much money they've actually put into our pockets or our bank accounts. And you'll see there's a big discrepancy there. And nobody is talking about it. And I don't know why.
You are, though.
You should see my next article. RBC is not going to like me after the next one. And I apologize. I apologize up front that, hey, I bank with RBC. So it's not even like, hey, I got business to do. But if you're not executing your own promises, what else is there to say? All I can talk about is data. All I can talk about is facts. Between X time and X time, what has happened, how have we been treated? How have I been treated? And if it's not good, that's the only thing that I can write down. If it's good, I will write the good. I talk great about Alterna Savings all the time. I bank with them as well. When we engage with like Susan Henry from Alterna, it's always positive. And you feel like you're part of the bank community, like the Alterna Credit Union community. And so if I'm talking to other people, I refer so many people to Alterna Savings because of my experience.
Yeah.
I never refer people to RBC because of my experience.
Ouch.
That's just people ask all the time.
Ryan is gonna he's on fire this again. I thought I need to get journalism lessons from Ryan Oneil Knight.
Hey man,
you know what?
Slowly learning.
I'm gonna stop you because this is a good segue into our friend that's coming on today.
Yes.
This is a good warm up. So, folks, if you're watching this live on the replay, Ryan has set the flame for the fire that's gonna come in and he's actually loud. I see him in the background laughing. But so let me give him a proper introduction. Greg Frankson is a Toronto-based poet, author, educator, and an anti-discrimination advocate. Let me get that right. Anti-discrimination advocate. He's published 3 collections of his work and has contributed to 3 poetry anthologies. He is currently editing a forthcoming collection of essays and poetry entitled AfriCANthology, Perspectives of Black Canadian Poets, which is scheduled for release in February of 2022. He's a 2012 National Poetry Slam champion, 2013 inductee to the Verse Ottawa Hall of Honor for his contributions to the literary arts in the capital, Ottawa, that is, for those who are watching outside of Canada, and a 2014 nominee as for a Black Canadian Award for Best Spoken Word. He appeared on CBC's Canada's Smartest Person on 2012 and is former resident poet on the CBC Radio One program Here and Now in Toronto. In addition to those achievements, he was the first African Canadian to serve as term of Canada's oldest undergraduate student government in Queen's University in 1996-97, and was a vocal advocate for the on-campus recognition of Robert Sutherland, Canada's first Black university graduate and the first Black lawyer in British North America. In 2009, Queen's officially rededicated his policy studies building as Robert Sutherland Hall. Today we have him talking about what? With Black Canadians in the spotlight, are we still? And no guarantee that this attention will last. Has it gone already? What can we do to create infrastructure that archives, amplifies, and elevates our people now and into the future? So you see, Ryan set up everything for Greg. What's going on, man?
So glad to have you. Good, everybody.
Oh boy. Oh boy. My brother. Well, usually I'm used to seeing Greg at a mutual acquaintance's house, Roger Dundas. So this is, as I said before we went live, first time I've encountered him outside of Roger Dundas's house, who's him and his wife published byblacks.com, the most viewed Black Canadian site in the world, by the way. My man Greg, how you doing this morning?
I am doing extremely well. The sun is shining, the weekend is coming, and I am on Dr. Vibe. So what could be wrong?
It's no Dr. Vibe and Ryan. Ryan's a star now. I'm just fodder. Like he's the man who puts up this LinkedIn post that like hundreds of people are like flying to. I say, I knew Ryan when.
Right. Hey, Ryan's still there.
I'll make sure I big up Ryan Knight on this show, doing his thing, that's how we do it.
Good, my brother. Well, look, can you share a little bit more about us? Great bio, by the way, but what you've been up to, share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into the conversation topic.
Well, I mean, first up, I'm a Scarborough guy. I always start with that.
Scarborough. I'm still there, my brother. Scarborough.
Big up the borough. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I am the founder and chief executive of VoiceShare Inc. And so what we do with our business is I'm working to be focused on answering the straightforward but definitely not simple question: how does an inclusive leader communicate effectively? And so I've created a VoiceShare method that brings together leadership, inclusion, and effective communication, and help leaders and teams to be the best versions of themselves, helping them bring empathy, passion, and purpose into alignment while they attract opportunity, inspire, to the cohesion within their team, with their leadership, and profoundly transform their ability to connect, grow, and thrive. So on a personal front, I live out in Durham region now. Yep. I am active in my community, involved in the life of the town of Whitby, which is where I currently reside. And, and I'm just very excited about the possibilities in the future that I see based on what's happening in the world right now. As you were saying, that spotlight that's on our community right now, that, we can debate how strong that spotlight is at this point, as opposed to where it was last year. But there are definitely things that are going on where we need to leverage this moment to create change that will be effective and affecting for people today and into the future, for our kids and their kids, as well as for the betterment of Canadian society as a whole. So that's kind of the opening. I'll let you take it from there, right?
Wow, Ryan.
Solid.
And there's a relation. I didn't know till just before we went live, there is a relationship between you and Ryan.
That's right. Ryan, Ryan is with, the ACBN, right? The African Caribbean Business Network. And my business, VoiceShare, is one of the companies working with his marketing and promotion program. So I'm very excited about that. And we are working on building a really tight partnership and connection. And Ryan has been extremely helpful in helping my Black business to go to the next level of where I want it to be.
And that's where, because when we started working together about a month ago, and then when the name popped up on the last show and Dr. Vi was like, oh, I know Greg. I was like, I know Greg. And so that's where I love how everything kind of connects. And really with what, Greg, you're working on with the AfriCANthology, that is what blew me away when we first met. And we met just mainly on VoiceShare to say, oh, okay, this is the business that you're running, and learning about how you use words, especially with the poet in residence at an event. That blew me away, first of all, and we can get into that later. But the AfriCANthology, AfriCANthology, yes. Actually, I'll let you tell the audience more about what you are actually compiling. But Dr. Vi, what's up?
Well, I just say I want to keep it a little short and sweet on that, because I'd like Greg to come back and spend a whole conversation
hear that.
on that.
Yeah.
So if you can just high level, Greg, just talk about what that project is all about, then we're going to get right into our conversation piece.
Yeah,
for sure. So AfriCANthology, Perspectives of Black Canadian Poets, is the beginning of the AfriCANthology Canada project. The specific book takes about 20 Black poets from coast to coast, provides them with an opportunity to publish a poem as well as a personal essay that speaks to their experience and their navigation of their journey in Canada in Black skin, both as a citizen and as a person, and also as an artist, and look at different aspects of their experiences. People are very diverse background-wise, experience-wise, identity-based diversity as well. And so this book is going to be powerful. We've got some incredible contributors, talking about, having people like Cicely Bell Blaine out on the West Coast, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter Vancouver, all the way out to the East Coast, where we've got someone like Evelyn C. White, who was the official biographer for Alice Walker, and then all of the different types of people in between. So people need to look out for that. And yes, we will have another discussion deeper into that, but that's the high level.
Yeah, I think that definitely is a conversation, standalone conversation by itself. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to go to a commercial now, because I think I don't think the conversation we're going to have should be broken up. So we're going to just take a little bit of a break, folks, and we'll be back in a few moments, and we'll roll up our sleeves and get fire going. So hang out with us, Dr. Vibe, Ryan Oneil Knight, Greg Frankson on The Morning Vibe. Catch you in a bit.
Hi, my name is Ryan Oneil Knight, the founder of Detailing Nights and one of the founding members of ACBN Canada. Our vision is to help unite and educate Afrocentric entrepreneurs so they can grow their businesses in a successful and sustainable way. We're helping businesses increase their sales and operations by providing networking, training, and consulting. So as a business owner myself, I found it difficult to find like-minded individuals, especially in my own community, that were doing things on a regular basis to help our businesses grow. ACBN Canada is that solution. We've created this community to surround your business with support to help you increase your sales and your profits. With expert workshops and masterminds to help keep you accountable, come and join us and really get to the next level.
Okay, we are back. Dr. Vibe, Ryan, Greg. Okay, folks, here we go. The conversation topic for today: with Black Canadians in the spotlight and no guarantee that this attention will last, what can we do to create the infrastructure? Greg, why did you want to lay this one down today?
I wanted to lay this one down today because here's the reality. So just over a year ago, George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The world woke up to the fact that Black people weren't talking BS when we've been saying for centuries that we have been mistreated, mishandled, brutalized, murdered, and killed for no good reason, based solely upon the color of our skin, by all kinds of folks, whether they were just regular folks or they were representatives of institutions. And with the pandemic going on, white folks couldn't look away. There was no distraction. There was no opportunity to get too busy taking your kids to their soccer games or watching the latest episode of The Bachelor. There was none of that going on. And so because people were forced to look at the thing that they were taking so much effort to avoid really contemplating, there was a moment of reckoning. There was a moment of reckoning where people then had to say, you know what? We have to do something about this. That 9 minutes of watching George Floyd's life leak away made it completely untenable for folks to say that we can't deal with this, that Black people are talking about something that isn't real, that, you know, we're in a post-racial society, whatever nonsense people have been saying before that. And because we've had that moment of reckoning, governments have acted, corporations have acted. We've seen the creation of the Black Opportunity Fund. We've seen the creation of the Black North Initiative. It was already underway, but we saw an explosion of interest and engagement with it. We've seen, you know, the creation of initiatives around, you know, Black loan funds for entrepreneurship, all kinds of stuff that's happening out there, funded by government and by corporations in Canada. But this isn't going to last forever. We're already starting to see the pushback. People saying, you know, all lives matter, all this nonsense that, you know, that people were pushing back with, you know, trying to reframe what happened in America in January as being the incitement of folks like us who were trying to make, you know, the Trump movement look bad. And so when you see all of this kind of nonsense going on, you realize that there probably isn't going to be much more time for us to continue to hold the attention. And especially as the pandemic looks like the worst is over, people are going to start getting back to their quote unquote regular lives. So if we're going to build that infrastructure, if we're going to attract the dollars, and we're going to actually organize ourselves and not be crabs in a bucket, but rather be crabs on a beach. Yo, there's lots of space for all of us. Make your little home and build it up and build a stronger community so that we can all work together and grow something. That moment is now. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars available for the community to do something useful. So what kind of infrastructure are we going to build? And that's why I push forward with my AfriCANthology project in this moment at this particular time, because that is a way for us to archive and to amplify and to document and to encourage folks to be aware of what's happened and what is happening in the Black community from our contributions to the culture broadly. And it's only by creating initiatives like this that we're going to be able to actually anchor the cash, anchor the attention, anchor the good energy that's out there, link it up into that sand, grow it out of the dunes, and grow that lushness that's going to feed us for the decades to come.
Wow. All right. When am I voting for you?
Not anytime.
But you touched on something that it just triggered in my mind, that we can be crabs on a beach. Because remember, when crabs are in a bucket, the crabs didn't put themselves in the bucket. You know, so when we're talking about crabs in the bucket, somebody put the crabs there for not a great intention. Like, if crabs are in a bucket, they are destined for literally dinner. So now, us being a community to figure out, we have to get out of the bucket, get on the beach, working together, because there is so much space. But that spotlight now is where, if it dries up and people aren't paying attention anymore, is our voices going to be lost? Like, how do we keep our voices amplified as the spotlight dims? I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I think that the way we do that is by creating the materials to cause it to no longer be easy to ignore. So there are different avenues through which we can do that. In the corporate sphere, to continue to push for greater representation at not just at the board tables, but also in different areas and industries of our society. We've got lots of talented Black folks. You know, Black folks in Canada are some of the most educated Black folks in the world, with all kinds of talents and abilities and skills that they can be contributing to the growth of countries, of the country's communities and corporations. So get those people to work, put them into those corporate settings that they need to be in. Change human resource policies and processes internally in order to be able to create organizational culture that respects and encourages and honors Black experiences, Black voices, and Black talent. Then we gotta go back down to the root and going into educational settings and look at, okay, well, what are we doing in order to inculcate Blackness into our curriculum in the K-12 system, in the community college system, in the university system? Are we creating Black studies programs at the post-secondary level? Are we creating Black history related materials and information that are being created not just for Black history courses, but to also talk about the Black factor in science, in math, in sociology, in science, like all those different areas of academic endeavor? Are we creating community-based organizations that are going to bring Black folks in that that are going to be able to work with mainstream cultural organizations and activities, and also to continue to build up Black cultural space and Black cultural organizations and infrastructure? Are we doing things at the political level to encourage Black candidates? Are we pooling our resources to support Black political candidates when they're actually running for office? It's great to encourage people to run, but it's expensive. Costs tens of thousands of dollars. You need donors, you need volunteers. You need to train people on how to actually be able to thrive in those political structures, especially at the provincial, territorial, and federal levels, where we've got a lot of party politics that are going on. Even in some municipalities in this country, we've got party politics. How do you help Black candidates to navigate party structures to earn nominations, and then once they've earned nominations, to be elected to office, and then once they've been elected to office, to elevate to the highest levels of leadership? Because until Annamie Paul, we never had a Black person as a leader of a federal party. You can't have a Black prime minister until you have a Black federal party leader. So we need to have more Black federal party leaders. We need to have more provincial Black party leaders. If you want to have Black premiers, you need to have more viable Black candidates for mayoral and council seats. If you want to see those organizations have more representation at the table, with Black folks sharing their opinions and their perspectives. We have so much work to do. So it's time for us to roll up our sleeves and get to it.
Greg, and that's what I'm thinking. All the things that you have mentioned, for some of us, and including yourself, Ryan, we've heard all of this stuff before.
Right.
And is the work, I have a number of conversation pieces. First things first, where do you think more work has to be done in this subject? Within the Black community or outside of the Black environment? I don't like using community. Within the Black environment or outside the Black environment? Where do you think right now on June 4th, 2021, where do you feel more work needs to be done?
That's a great question because Black folks need to figure out their stuff. Number one, what are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we aiming for? How do we get there? We need to figure out our own stuff too. Not just the elite people like ourselves, frankly, who are running organizations, who have large platforms and whatever, but what else is happening at the community level? Those people who are being engaged in their neighborhoods and in their towns and cities and municipalities, how are those folks being brought together and their desires, hopes, dreams, and aspirations being funneled into the larger picture? But beyond that, people want to say, we don't have access to the levers of power. That's not true. Black folks do have access to the levers of power. So how do we then force folks who actually have their hands on the lever of power, Black or not, to pull on them, to manipulate those levers of power in order to achieve some of the change that we believe is necessary? So to my mind, it doesn't really matter. It's not really that kind of a dichotomous situation. It is that there are Black people in those environments, and there are folks from mainstream culture who are in Black environments. And how do we amp up both of those sets of environments? How are we improving and increasing the organized action within Black spaces? And how are we doing that outside of the spaces that need to figure out how to better accommodate Blackness?
Talk the truth, man. The people we've been elevated within different institutions and organizations from time, and because that's typically what we fight for. So like you said, people get into certain positions but then aren't willing to pull the levers that need to be pulled to continue to empower the Black community. And so I'm curious your thoughts. So that was kind of talking about, okay, outside of our community, and I know Dr. Vibe, you don't like community. I use community a lot because it is wishful thinking that the community shall be built. But so now internally, what could we do to empower ourselves? Like, what if we're going to work on our own selves and we have to go
before Greg answers on this, before we end, I've got a list. So I'm gonna let I sat down last night and listened to one of my mentors. I got a list. So I'll leave it to later. But Greg is our guest. Keep on going, Greg.
Well, I mean, what do we need to do internally? I think I was touching on it. I think that what has happened, and people might get mad at me, and that's okay, because Lord knows I've attracted my own share of controversy and anger over the years. I'm a spoken word artist, and I speak the truth from the stage. Of course, I piss people off, but the truth of the matter is that, and I'm going to be blunt, my friends, people like us who have been highly educated, who have managed to rise to a certain place and space within organizational culture, who have the ability to speak directly to people who are in the corridors of power, influence, and financial wealth. People like us spend a lot of time talking to people like us. And then we develop our ideas about what should be done for the community based on the needs, hopes, desires, and aspirations of people like us. And so if we don't actually break down that paradigm, if we don't actually break down those artificial barriers that we've created and get back to the grassroots, people talk about grassroots action, but we actually have to engage in it. So part of what I want to do with AfriCANthology is start to put the books out, because the bigger plan is to have a series of anthology volumes. But by creating a space where those voices have been brought together, what I want it to be is the beginning of a conversation, a beginning of a roadmap to action, where we can actually take these items, these articles, these materials, spread them out as video, as podcasts, as discussions, as educational materials, as gathered research and other resources, and take it right into the community and say, hey, this is what we've developed. What do you think about it? Does this make sense for you? What else do you think we need to be doing? How does this impact on your day-to-day life? How is this helping you with your job or with your ability to hop on a bus and get to work? or for your daughter to actually finish high school? Like, how is this impacting in your life? And what can we be doing better? And how do we build a community future that takes you into account and has you at the forefront, and not people like me who have always been at the forefront because the light is shining on us and we're the squeaky wheels? How do we make sure that the mechanic is fixing the whole vehicle and not just the part that's squeaking?
Ryan?
Oh, I got to get to work. What are you talking about, me? I just got my marching orders. It's like, listen, that, and somebody mentioned that to me too, because I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, and there's perceived leadership there. So if you're going to be in the realm of considering yourself a leader in the community, you have to listen to what the people need. And I know that's something that I had to learn, where and unconsciously I was like, you're explaining what was going through my mind unconsciously. It's like, okay, we're here. This is what we need to do. And you're just like with your own people, just talking about other people. What we need to figure out is how do we bring the people all in the room and then listen to them and say, we are here to serve. We are here because we feel like there's gaps, but we don't know exactly what the gaps are. We know they're there, but to get the perspective of what needs to happen, it can't come from me. You know, like I knew what I needed and I'm still working on that, but what other people need, I don't know. So we have to listen to what they need. And that is something that I have to learn and I'm still learning.
Greg, question for you.
Sure.
Are Black Canadians, in your opinion, better off than they were 14 months ago?
Wow. Are Black Canadians better off now than they were 14 months ago? I think how I would answer that question is, I believe that Black Canadians are better served by the media spotlight now than we were 14 months ago. Does that necessarily mean that we are in a better place yet? I don't know. And the reason why is because so much of the energy that was placed in the last year to create, you know, these different initiatives, these different buckets of money, these different corporate sign the pledge movements and whatever else, it's too early to see what the fruit of all of that has been. It's just too early. So the jury is out as to whether we're better off, but I think we are being better served by the spotlight. I think there has been less negativity and more positivity shone on the Black Canadian community in the last year than in the previous decade. And so from that point of view, I think we're a little better off. But, you know, tangible, have we actually, created things that are going to benefit Black folks going forward? We're still in the process of figuring out whether the answer is yes or no. That would be my answer.
Okay. Ryan, I could go for the next few hours on this. I know we have a limited amount of time. Ryan, you want to add?
No,
okay.
Because that same question, I would say we're exactly wherever we were, we are still there, but now the light is on us. Before we were in a similar position, but kind of in the dark. And like Greg said at the beginning, when he was talking about how we've been ignored, people were ignoring what we've been talking about, or what's been happening so much in the Black community. Now it couldn't be ignored. So does that spotlight actually help us progress? I don't know.
So let me ask a question, since I'm a graduate of the Ryan Oneil Knight School of Journalism, for both of you. You think my last question was fun? It's gonna get better in a second. Is the spotlight based on capitalism, or is the spotlight based on real social justice?
So here's how I would begin that answer, is that usually when anyone is in a spotlight, it's because they're putting on a performance. When people are in a spotlight, in most situations, it is because they are putting on a performance. And so what we need to figure out is, when the curtain comes down, is there any substance to the show? When the curtain comes down, is there any substance to the show? The curtain is about to drop. When we get to a certain level of vaccination where people can start to talk credibly about herd immunity and moving forward through the pandemic, that's when the curtain is closed. Because then people will be talking about, is work from home or work from anywhere a real thing? How do we get back to having, crowds of people gathering at sports events and concert halls and all the rest of it? What is school going to look like in September? And do we continue to have a remote option for kids who would rather do that? And we start to get into all of these other kinds of very relevant, very important conversations. And then the megaphone is going to get crowded out. The megaphone that we're holding is going to get crowded out. So when that curtain drops, that's when we'll see if stuff is for real. When that curtain drops, that's when we'll see if the corporations who are scrambling to be seen on the right side of this issue right now, we'll see where they end up next summer. That's when we'll find out next summer what happened to the money that was given to these organizations to disperse within Black spaces, and to see how well they've done that and what has actually grown out of that. Because the people who are getting that money, y'all are on watch now too, because you are in the spotlight. And what kind of performance are you putting on right now? So we'll see what happens. Come back to me with that in 12 months.
Okay. Do you want to add on that at all, Ryan?
That, and only Greg, you could have made that perspective, because I was thinking about the media, and when the media covers something, who actually benefits? So if we are in the spotlight, exactly what you said, we are on stage, we are now performing, and who is benefiting from the performance? And if you look at just traditional mainstream media, whatever they cover it to get eyeballs, and the eyeballs get them revenue. That revenue doesn't go to the person that was in the spotlight or on the stage. It goes to their shareholders. So now, yes, they're covering us, but that is actually really helping them, like pocketbooks wise. Is it really helping us being in the spotlight? That, to me, the way, Greg, you put it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep at night. I've got to think about this, because how do you combat that? We would talk about wanting to be heard and wanting to be like, listen, this is what we're going through, put us in the spotlight. And then we get in the spotlight, but is that really what we want? Is like, that be careful what you ask for kind of thing. Because now people will talk about George Floyd all the time. They're doing events and different memorials about it, and they're covering the year anniversary, the 100-year anniversary of Tulsa. That's getting eyeballs to their platforms. But is that eyeball revenue filtering back into the community in any way? I don't think it is.
And you know what? Just before you jump in, Dr. Vibe, I just want to raise one example. Look what happened when Facebook gave money to the Black Chamber of Commerce. Then everybody started looking at the Black Chamber, and the place is a mess now, because the leadership wasn't ready for that. People weren't unified in their purpose and their mission. And there's been controversy and difficulty and people resigning and all kind of nonsense that's happening at the chamber. And that's because the spotlight is on you. And if you're going to perform, you better be ready. You better be off book by the time that happens. Because if you're not and you're calling for line, you're going to have some trouble. You're going to have some trouble. So all of us need best be ready, because that light is still shining on us and we have to deliver.
I'm going to add something, and I use the United States as an example because obviously we're close to them, and a lot of things we do are replica of the United States. If you pay attention to the media, a few months ago or a little while back, there was an Asian hate crime that happened. I can't remember what state it was, and it may have been Georgia, where I think a number of Asians were killed by a white gentleman. You look, the Congress passed bills like this in regards to benefits for Asian hate crimes. Now let's flip to this country. And now, unfortunately, I have to use negative events or bad events to try to prove a point here. 215 Aboriginal children found dead underneath a school. One of the things the media covered, but probably a lot of people didn't pay attention to, was all of a sudden the federal government released $25 million of funds that were being held up for the Indigenous community. And when the government representative was asked, oh, well, we were going through processes, this and that. Well, that got fast-tracked. Like it or not, we are not the only game in town in this country, and especially in politics. So I take those two situations that were unfortunate situations to show the reality of politics and the reality of society. Just a thought.
Right.
Because I think the sun is fading away. Like, it's June 4th. By June 22nd, the days start getting shorter. So our June was, I don't think it's the first day of summer. The first day of summer is going to be
day.
Yes. So just a thought in my alleged mind. Greg, we could have you for more. Anything else you want to? We will have you back for more. Anything else you want to add today?
I just want to say that this isn't all gloom and doom. We do have an opportunity right now, and it's on us to seize it. But not just that. I think there is genuine goodwill in many corners outside of the spheres of Black spaces to be interested in that accommodation, to be interested in that conversation, to be interested in that journey. I think there really is that opportunity. So we need to find those folks. We need to find those people who wish to be allied in a genuine, substantive way, and pull them into the work, because we cannot, will not, and should not try to do this on our own as Black people. If the society has a problem, it's not on the person who is the focus of the problem to come up with all of the solutions. So we got to make sure that we conscript and we enroll other folks into this process, hold them to account, and then get them to be our ambassadors in the places and spaces where the conversations that need to happen won't happen if we're there.
Cool. Excellent. Ryan, anything you're wanting to add today?
No, sir. That
no, sir.
And you got our marching orders. There's no time to play anymore.
Okay.
Like, we see how people are playing with us. We cannot be joining in. Like, we got to get to work. Exactly like Greg said. I'm ready to get to work. I've seen a lot of other people ready to get to work. That organization of ourselves is what's needed, and I feel like it's going to get done.
Okay. I said at the beginning of the conversation, I had a few points I wanted to share with. I'm going to share them very quick. And this was told to me by a mentor last night who knew I was doing this conversation today. He said, Black people need a new mindset and a new consciousness. And he gave me 5 points for Black people. Have a narrow culture vision, focus on excellence, and making Black people great first. Number 2, socially isolate and ostracize those of us who do not give back to the community. Number 3, coalesce around our vision, not our pain. We talk about killing a lot, and understood, but we're not talking about recycling the Black dollar or wealth creation. Number 4, connect the dots, work with each other. And then number 5, think entrepreneurially. And then he added another good one for me. He said, people do not change when they see the light. They only change when they feel the heat. And I'll give one other bonus, and this was really good. He said, 80 piece. This is a man I very much respect. And if anyone wants to know who he is, you can talk to me online. I'm very well respected Black individual, 75 years old, who's lived. He said, 80% of Black people are sleepwalking. 10% are pimping the sleepwalkers. 4% are ready to see the light and ready to make it happen. And 1% are making it happen. So I will just leave. So I just wanted to leave with that. Today I'm actually, so if anyone wants a copy of that, you can certainly get in contact with me, but I think that says enough. I don't think anything more has to be said in regards to that. Greg, thanks for having you today. Where can people get in touch with you?
Well, people can find me on Facebook. You can join my group Shared Voices by VoiceShare, which is just facebook.com/shared voices. You can also find my website for my business, voiceshareinc.com. Find out more about what I do in terms of inclusive leadership and effective communication. And of course, you can find out much more about the AfriCANthology project by going to our website at africanthology.ca.
Okay. And Christopher, our dedicated big #1 fan, says, holy chicken after what I just read. So I think I'm going to have to save that on a doc somewhere because I have a feeling I'm going to have to read that a few times to, and also the same gentleman said,
yes,
he also said, the truth will make you free, but it will make you miserable first. So on that note, Greg, thank you so much. We are definitely going to have you back. There's a number of things, and you're always invited if you want to come and join us and hang out with us. Appreciate it, not taken for granted, sir.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today.
All right.
It was our
Thank you for
pleasure.
sharing. Thank you. Take care.
Hmm.
Well, Ryan, good thing. Good conversation
Absolutely.
today.
Listen, print that out and send it to me. That'll
What?
print that 5 points.
Why? Because
yes.
I'm giving back to my mentor. Yay!
Love that.
So what's up for the weekend?
Ooh, we're delivering so our food bank that we're doing with Faith Greaves from Mosaic Professional Business Center. She has a food bank every Saturday, so we have enlisted Detail Ignites to help deliver food because not everybody can get to Etobicoke. So they got a mega shipment of milk. So I've been delivering milk this week, and so Saturday we're delivering more milk.
Ryan,
and
the
more
milkman!
Yay! Yes.
Are you gonna wear a white suit and the white hat?
I'd have to buy one. I don't have a full white suit. People did call me the milkman coming up the steps. I love it.
So much like a picture of you with a milk carton in the side and the hat. That would be epic. That would be epic. So other than delivering milk, what else is going on this weekend?
And really gonna just relax. Sunday.
Good.
That's the day I've been kind of carving out. So we're gonna see what we could do with the family. And this week, again, school's kind of winding down. So,
okay, Ryan is frozen on us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take. So myself, a number of different things going on this weekend. Always doing some work in regards to improving the platforms that I share content on. But what I'm going to be looking forward to Sunday, I have a conversation, another one of the conversations I host on a show I do, or a conversation I do called Black Canada Talking on most Sunday afternoons at 5 p.m. Eastern time. I think Ryan is back, so I'm going to put him back here. Okay.
Sorry about that. Yes,
no problem.
Bros.
So I'll be interviewing a lady named Dion Levy, who she does stuff in regards to mental health. I'll just leave it at that. Just specified forms of mental health for parents and husbands and wives separately. So that's what's going on, and other things going on in the background. Anything else, Ryan, going on this weekend other than that?
No. Gonna just relax and deliver some milk. The milkman's coming out.
I am the milkman. Man, if I was good at Photoshop, I'd create a picture around with a hat and
get the students on it. They'll figure it out.
There you go. Well, folks, thanks again. Again, thanks to Greg and Ryan. Who do we have coming up on Monday? Another heavy hitter.
Oh man, Marlon, that article that I wrote on LinkedIn, we had been talking on Facebook, and I apologize, I forget the venture company that he's created, but he's going to talk more about what empowerment truly looks like in the Black community. And he's been doing a lot of crazy work with Valence. And if you don't know Valence, it's a networking. It's kind of like LinkedIn for the Black business community. And so check it out. We'll have the link and everything. And Marlon will go deeper into what point 4 that you said, or point 3, that network mindset in the Black community. We have to think entrepreneurial, which I think was point 5, and think as a network. And Marlon is way ahead of the game in creating that network. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Basically what we're saying is, wherever you're watching this now live on the replay, this is where we are Monday and Fridays, 9 a.m. Eastern time, with the Morning Vibe. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace, and have a great weekend, everybody. Where we are, you may be watching this somewhere else, but we're doing it live. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Be well, keep the faith, and remember to give yourselves grace.